everybody. Okay, we are at the point where we're talking about authorship speeches. And I decided to dress up for you today to talk about authorship speeches because one of the pointers that you can have in your authorship speech when you're recording it is to be dressed up, looking professional. So when we talk about student congress is usually something that looks a little bit like this guy over here, dressed up, standing in front of your student body and presenting information about a bill that you would like to author. In the classroom, I have students dress up. I give them little placards that say Senator or Representative Dunn in front of them, and that's how you're referred to for the entirety of Student Congress. If you would like to refer to yourself as Senator or Representative, you can do that in your comments and your suggestions and things like that. The beautiful thing about if you are dressing up in our Student Congress is that all we can see when you record your authorship speech video, you want to make sure that we see you from the waist up, because from the waist down, you could be like me and be wearing sweatpants. And that's kind of the cool thing about this particular authorship speech, because usually for Student Congress, kids are dressed up for the entirety of the Congress when they are speaking. But this year, you can just dress up, record your authorship speech, and you're good to go. All right, so we're going to talk about authorship speeches. So let's take a look over here. I'm going to shrink myself down. If you look at our Schoology page, you will see that for today, April 22nd, you have a couple must-dos. First, make sure you fill out attendance as always. Then you'll see that this speech right here is down, or this information down here is in the new YouTube slot. And then I have linked two speeches, a sample Student Congress speech with comments and a sample humorous bill speech without comments. This is the speech that went along with the pony identification bill. So you can kind of take a look at that. I'm going to go over this speech with you right now and talk to you a little bit about what to do with that. But your assignment, you're going to start drafting this bill today. First drafts of this bill will be due Monday at 11:59. Final drafts, you'll need to film yourself delivering the bill. And I do want to see you with, as much as possible, eye contact and hand gestures and things like that while you're delivering the bill. You're going to film it and send it to me by next Wednesday, April 29th by 11:59, and that's when that's due. You will have to email me a link to your video so that I can get that video and I can post it on Schoology. I need it to be a YouTube video of yourself delivering the bill so that I can get the YouTube link and post it on Schoology. I can't do anything else. So please post on YouTube. If you have problems with that, contact me and let me know so that I can help you work around it. Okay, so let's take a look at this sample bill. So this was a bill about LGBTQ rights done a few years ago, called LGBTQ plus rights, or LGBT rights are human rights. And you will see that in this bill, you have my comments off to the side about what to do or what not to do. So each step of the way, I give you information about what you should look for. So a while ago, you posted brainstorm information or brainstorm worksheets on, I think that was last week, Wednesday. So you should have turned something in to Schoology. So number one on your brainstorm sheet was the introduction to your bill. It's introducing the problem that exists, and that's why this bill is being created. So if you look at here, this is the introduction to the problem. This first part where you get into the introduction and things, it's a little bit more like philosophical. What's wrong with the world in general? You don't get into the specific because we're going from a broad scope to a narrow scope. Broad to narrow. So up here in the introduction, you're a little bit more broad. So the next part of the introduction is a little bit more practical and less philosophical. So here we move into where in society do we see your bill as a solution to the specific problems. So we're moving forward and getting a little bit more specific. And then we end with, because of this, I believe the last sentence of your introduction is the purpose of your bill. So you refer directly to the bill. I believe we need a bill that will abolish discrimination against LGBT plus employees. So that's what you have right there. I believe that we need a bill, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's the introduction for the speech. So now we're going to move into the portion after the introduction. If you look down here, I've told you the portion after the introduction focuses on establishing what's called just cause for the bill. So you want to use both emotional appeals and logical appeals, which includes evidence from research that backs why this thing is a problem, whatever it is. It supports the forming of the bill, just like this paragraph. So this paragraph is talking about LGBT problems at work, and you'll see that you need to include evidence from at least 3 sources for this bill. So this is source number 1. And so they've given information, and this kind of supports that, yes, there is a problem and why this bill was established. So once you're done, so we've got introduction, we've got establishing, showing proof that there is a problem. Then we move into this next paragraph, which is the results of the bill's passage. So what will happen as a result of the bill being passed? And that's what this paragraph is about. Next paragraph after that covers the nuts and bolts of the bill. So who is in charge of the bill? What fines will be put into place? If you are doing scaffolding fines, like one fine, like if the first time they get caught, X happens. The second time they get caught, X happens, like that kind of thing. That's what goes in this paragraph right here, and who's overseeing it. And then you have your conclusion. And you want to make sure that this conclusion is like a mic drop conclusion, because you want to have people agree with you that this is a problem, and you want to convince them to really speak out and vote in favor of whatever your bill is. So make this conclusion a big one, making it a big problem and talking to people about how they can stop this terrible whatever it is. All right, so once again, going over the outline, introduction, 1 paragraph, ending with an introduction to your bill. Then second paragraph is research that proves it's a problem. Second paragraph, and you want to make sure that you have information from research that proves that. Third paragraph, what will happen as a result of the bill's passage. Fourth paragraph, what's the nuts and bolts, what's going to happen as a result of the bill. And conclusion paragraph. 5 paragraphs. You could have a little bit more into the proving that it's a problem if you want to, maybe a second paragraph, just to make sure that you get in enough sources that kind of support your side. Okay, so this is the basic bill. Remember that you are doing MLA format, just like everything else that you've done, which includes the MLA formatted heading over here, and that you are inserting page numbers, but you are remembering when you insert page numbers that you're going to hit that little box over here that says different first page, so that your page number right there doesn't show up on your first page and your name, because that's not MLA format. Okay, you've got 2 sample bills. There's that bill, and then there's this bill that you can kind of look over to see what happened with the pony bill. All right, there it is. So this one kind of gives you an example of like a funnier kind of bill and how to find research that might support your side if you're doing something that's a little bit more amusing. You'll see that they ended up with 4 different sources that they used to support their research as to why it's a problem. And they kind of sprinkled that throughout. This class was a larger class, so I had students working in pairs. Obviously, because our class is smaller, and also because you're not allowed to get together with each other, you can't work in pairs. Okay, So that is the introduction to your authorship speech. Your authorship speech, I want you to think of basically as trying to convince the other students in the class not only to vote for your bill, but that this problem actually exists and how to solve this problem is your bill. You can, because by the time you stand up to do your authorship speech and you record it by next week, Wednesday, one of the things we're going to be talking about tomorrow is submitting your bill and people making comments on your bill. You have to go back in and see what kind of comments or questions people had on your bill, what they were, and you can kind of use those to help you decide how you're going to convince your audience to vote in favor of your bill. All right. If you have any questions, underneath this screencast, you're going to see the questions, concerns, etc. Feel free to send me a question, link me a question there, or also send me a question via email so that I can respond to it and kind of help you out in whatever way that I possibly can so that you know exactly what you're doing. Okay. Hopefully everything's going to go well. You're going to get your bills taken care of. They should have been uploaded to me last night via Schoology final draft. Tomorrow, I'm going to have all of your bills posted on Schoology, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what to do with those. All right. Have yourselves a great afternoon, and I will see you via screencast again tomorrow.